That's not one of the doomsday experts. All right. So, welcome everybody to round 6. Is it round 6? Round 6. We're actually way ahead of schedule, aren't we? Round 6, Vintage Eternal Weekend number 1, 2020. Let's begin. Hmm. This seems pretty reasonable to me. I have a Force of Will and a turn 2 Tinker. I'm going to play my Moxen just in case they do something where they play Lavinia or a Chalice or a Sphere. Is it gonna be Doomsday anyways? After I talked about how this was not one of the 3 Doomsday experts, is it still gonna be Doomsday? This is making it so I'm less inclined to go for Tinker. I would rather try to jam this Lavinia. I think I'm not gonna cast Mystical this turn. Pretty sure I wanna just go for Lavinia and take my blind draw. I have options, right? I could go Mystical for Ancestral, I could go Mystical for Tinker. But if they're on if they're on Doomsday, the most important card is probably this Lavinia. So I might have to like force pitch Mystical. The problem with force pitch Mystical is I play Lavinia, but I don't have any like way to power through the game. I kind of need like Thinker afterwards. So what I'm hoping for, I think, is to draw a blue spell so that I have a different card to pitch to force, so that I can go for Lavinia with force backup, end of turn Mystical, Mystical for Tinker, Tinker for the win. And I think that's the line we're gonna take here because I think casting Mystical here is too greedy. Blue spell? Blue spell. Beautiful. Because next turn we can still Mystical for Tinker and still play Tinker. We just won't have a land drop to give. Lavinia is an incredibly strong card versus Doomsday. Um, it has to be countered by Force of Will, basically, and then they don't have any many ways to deal with it when it's in play. All right, so we've resolved a Lavinia against either Doomsday or PO, both of which are great options for us. Dig Through Time leans us towards Doomsday, though. Oh, it's Mystic Sanctuary, so maybe it's Bug. So they can have Fluster now. So the only thing we could be worried about Fluster or Spell Pierce. So will we still cast Mystical is the question. I guess Mystical Sanctuary could still be Doomsday, right? Either way, I don't think we should play into an active Flusterstorm, but we should still get Ancestral Recall. So what I think we're gonna do is Mystical for Ancestral Recall, and then we'll Ancestral Recall on our opponent's turn when we can pay for Fluster. And then we play around I guess doesn't really play around negation because we already have Lavinia in play. But I think like going for a Tinker here, losing our Moxen and getting it flustered is just like again probably too greedy. Yeah, didn't you know we're not playing any tournaments right now? We might get mental misstep is the biggest way this gets blown out, but yeah, I'm gonna just play this land and I'm gonna cast Ancestral on their upkeep, which lets us pay for Spell Pierce or Flusterstorm. And they don't have Pyroblast or anything up. Alright, that's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. That's fair. Let's see what opponent does. Okay, so it might be Pete. Wait. What is happening? So there's a Mystic Sanctuary, but there's also an Underground Sea and a Tundra? Does that mean it's four-color Breach? Hmm. This is annoying because I can't PO this turn. I can attack Lavinia down to 1 or Narset down to 1, but if they find an answer to my Lavinia, having a Narset in play is really, really bad for me. A Time Walk is our best draw. A Time Walk into a Moxen, I think. Second Lavinia is kind of garbage, but I guess at least it means if they remove my Lavinia, then I have another option to attack Narset. They can have their Lavinia of their own, so I'm definitely going to play out this Mox Opal right now. So we have to really hope opponent just has no answer to this Lavinia, and I can kill this Narset, because I think we're super, super far behind. We've drawn a little bit too many lands. I don't exactly know what's in our opponent's deck, to be perfectly honest, but that's fucking atrocious for us. That's really, really bad. I could PO for 1 and try to draw Force. This is like the God, it's gotta be one of the best cards they could possibly have had here, because they're just gonna preordain to make a 1/1. Means I can't kill this Narset this turn. I might be supposed to PO for 1 no matter what right now. I guess I'll cycle my Paradoxical Outcome. Disaster. No Mox Jet for you. But you do get a creature, which means I now have a hard time attacking. So it's what the hell? It must be 4-color Breach then. Man, this Mentor draw is so good for them then, because they really ah, pretty unfortunate. Pretty unfortunate. I almost wish we had just played into possible Flusterstorm and just gone for a Tinker line. I almost wish we did that. Terrible draws, just fucking. Well, I have to do this. I have to attack into this Narset. And hopefully they don't have a force for my Lavinia on the way back down. They might just chump with 1. They might trade with 2. Yeah, this is really bad. I think our draws just did not line up against what opponent was doing. Obviously, like drawing 5 lands in my 13 land deck, 2 Mox Opals, and both Lavinias is like comically bad. So I have to rely on a handball again post board. I'm gonna hold these now because I'm thinking about. Well, maybe we won't even be able to brainstorm because of Narset. Opponent literally has to have any spell, and we can't kill this Narset ever. So obviously, the downside of not playing Pyroblast is you can't kill this Narset, but also like we were never gonna be able to, draw cards anyways. So yeah, we're pretty dead here. Mentor is pretty ridiculous. I don't know. The only thing we could have done in this game is played more aggressively with our Mystical Tutor. We could have gone for. Oh, it's the Night Whisper version. Interesting. We could have gone for a Tinker and just made him have it. We would have lost. We wouldn't have necessarily lost. We don't know what opponent had, but we haven't seen a Flusterstorm. but it's hard to know if they had a Flusterstorm or not. I did think they were on Doomsday because I mean, I considered Breach, but by the time we knew they were on Breach, it didn't really our choices were already made, so I don't really think it made a difference. I'm just trying to figure out if our mystical like, the only choice we made in this game was our mystical tutor, so I'm trying to figure out if our mystical tutor choice was wrong, because obviously we drew, like, just pretty much the worst we possibly could have drawn. So I'm just trying to figure out if the one choice that we did get to make, which was the mystical tutor, was correct. Well, obviously, opponent couldn't have pyroblasted, but they could have had bluster, I guess. We also could have got dazed. I don't know, there's like a million ways it goes badly, and then I have nothing. Whereas, I mean, Ancestral can always draw blanks, but as far as draws go, that's not the worst. It's just going to be really hard for it to do anything. All right, well, I'm just going to keep playing for a second to see if I can't draw any more information out, but we're going to just go to the next game soon. I guess technically this could still be 4-color PO, right? No, there's a negation. So it's breach. Hmm. I guess technically you can play a negation in PO. It's just you don't normally do it. All right, so we're gonna do the thing, basically the same thing we did for Xerox, where we board into Camball, Fluster, Remora, Trap. I don't think we're gonna board in Swords and Balance. We might board in Balance on the play, but not Swords. Um, each player has 25 minutes. Yes, this is a matchup we could actually bring in Sphinx if we wanted to. It's for Lavinia. I don't know if we will though. It's just an option. I wanted to bring out the slow tutors. Is what I wanted to bring out. I just misclicked. I just think Lavinia is really bad against these decks. It's a little better against Breach because you hit their 0 drops, but like they're playing like 7 Pyroblasts sometimes. Actually, I think we probably want them just because it's Breach and not, and because it's probably Breach. Their 0 drops actually matter, so Lavinia is fine. But against like Jeskai, I don't really like Lavinia at all. No, I think the needle is too narrow. Your cards need to have a little bit more impact than that. I'm just wondering if I'm supposed to bring in Sphinx. I don't think it's necessary. Yeah, you don't really want to play the slow tutors against these fair decks. It's just card disadvantage. It's kind of a weird hand. Hmm. Hand's so weird. I mean, we can easily just go Lotus, Brainstorm, lock ourselves, and lose. Correct. Sphinx is better against those decks. This seems like a real easy way to lose, but also could be pretty good with Brainstorm. Like if you Lotus Brainstorm and your Brainstorm like hits a fetch land and 2 good spells and you get to put away like Opal land. God, it's so risky though. I think it's correct to keep this. I'm actually not going to go Lavinia first because I want to have the ability to hit fetch land. I also have Mental Misstep to make my Brainstorm better, so I'm just looking for like fetch lands, good spells. Would like to put away this Opal with a fetch land if possible. They had the Mental Misstep. Well, we also have the Mental Misstep. All right, that's exactly what I was looking for. Fetch lands and good spells. Now what are we casting though? Are we casting Mentor? Probably not. We're probably supposed to cast Lavinia. Maybe not. Maybe Mentor is actually just better because you can just Pyroblast Lavinia. Hmm. I mean, we don't have any mocks, but yeah. I'm putting away Opal Tundra here. I don't think keeping Opal is right. Mm, I think that's bad. What do you want to put away? 2 lands? That seems really bad. We should have 2 lands in our hand. I'm going to put away Opal Tundra. And I'm going to play Lavinia, I think. Oh man, it's so slow. It's just so slow. Yeah, this is the play though. Lavinia is a lot better on the play on turn 1. I don't have the ability to follow up this Mentor. I don't think we're supposed to play Mentor. I think we're supposed to play Lavinia. Interesting. I feel like they have Flusterstorm or Swords. Feels like Swords for some reason. Leaving in Swords is kind of... They shouldn't have Swords in their deck, though. I really don't want a Demonic because I think they have Fluster. They wouldn't have Swords in their deck. Maybe they do have Swords in their deck. I can't imagine they have Swords in their deck. The only reason you would play this and pass is if you had Fluster. I'm 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 gonna play Remora. This feels like Fluster. This has to be Fluster. I'm aware, but it also means that they're not casting Preordains. If I hit any Moxen, I can just cast my Demonic Tutor. It's not a fair trade. It's a horrible loss for us. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Look at this. This is insane value for us. This is so good for us. Once again, Justin knows what he's talking about. Getting a Yogwell at some point will be pretty good as well. They did find a land off of that ponder. I wonder if that means we're going to get Pyroblasted at some point here. I think we're just supposed to hold this for more while I can. Then next turn we can look at something else. I'm looking for a Moxen here. I really wanted a Moxen or a land so I could spin my top. Our draws have not been bad because they are good draws against this deck, but they are also not been good. I think end of turn is going to be a Pyroblast on my Remora. No, on my... Oh god, please draw Mental Misstep. Or Force. Should I activate top? It's so good for me if I can counter this. There's just like... It's only 5 spells in my whole deck that do it. I'm not going to. It seems bad. So they didn't have any... That's true. I don't even have a misstep. Alright, they tapped out to play that. What can Justin do? Oh boy. I have a lot of choices. I like Demonicking for Ancestral because I have an active Snapcaster Mage. I didn't think they were Arcanists. I thought for sure they were Breach, but maybe they have Arcanists in their Breach deck. We saw Underground Sea, right? It must be some kind of hybrid list. They have 6 cards in hand. So bad for us. So bad. I need Moxen. Not exactly Moxen. I'm still supposed to cast this into a possible daze, though. That helps a lot if it doesn't get deactivated. We have the cards to grind this game. I'm just super worried we're going to get combo killed and have no way to back it up. God, they'll cheat and look at my hand. I guess I had Snap Misstep that I could have hold up. I don't really think that's very good, though. I mean, we might just die here. Opponent could just go, like, Lotus Breach, Brain Freeze, kill me. So... This game was kind of sus. I wonder if we played correctly. I kind of needed to draw Moxen in lands when I had my Remora out. That was kind of the key. Well, we can... Second game of Mentor in a row. We can find a balance if we want to. Second game of Mentor in a row, huh? We can also just go for Tinker. If we can find some like way to back up our Tinker. If I can find like a Force of Will off of this top, then I could just go Demonic Tinker. I think that would be the best. If this top can find me a Force of Will, I can go Demonic Tinker and just try to win. They could have double Force, but how am I supposed to do about it? That plan's good for me. Alright, let's see what we find. Force, balance, tinker, ancestral recall. I guess we're gonna go mentor draw spells. Oh man, how do we fucking play this? Mentor, recall. Uh, maybe we just lead recall. Do we draw recall and then fetch away the other cards? Pearl is not a bad card. Well, PO's a little rough. Oh, there's so many choices. If they have force for mentor, it's really bad for me. Because then I don't have the ability to do much of anything follow up. I don't even know if I want the cards off the top of my library here. I definitely think a pearl replaces the mana, so let's see what happens here. Because if this gets forced, then maybe I just go demonic tinker. I do have enough mana to do that. Well, mentor makes it so I can't die next turn. That's the big plus of mentor. There's a non-zero chance if I pass the turn, I just die. A pretty high chance, I would think. So they definitely have a force. It's just which kind of force and if they're going to use it. Didn't use it. What do we do then? Can I mentor demonic? Can I demonic time walk? What if I just demonic time walk here? I have 3 mana, 6 mana. Demonic time walk whisper. No, I think I don't fetch because I do think I want this pearl. If I play mentor, I can't demonic time walk, right? I'm 1 mana short. This sucks. I have so many choices that are just a little short of what I want to be doing with my life. All right, I'm going to jam this mentor. All right, they had a force of will. They pitched a brain freeze, so they are in fact on breach. All right. Now where can we move? I can snap ancestral. Not very good. The problem is I only have 3 mana, so I can't demonic into anything. I can get balance, I just don't think I'm going to live for a turn. That's my biggest problem is I just don't think I'm going to live for a turn. I think what we really want to do is demonic for a Yogg will maybe. But I just don't have time. I would have to have a Moxen on top, but there's like there's some ability for me to like draw a Moxen. Snap blocks one thing, not really. If they can just pyroblast my Snapcaster Mage and then attack through and kill me. I might have to blind draw with my top here to try to find a Moxen. Well, I could maybe get an Academy, but that leaves me 1 mana short. Demonic for Academy is only 3 mana for PO, so it's actually a little bit short. I can DT for Crypt, but then I still am at that's mana parity, so it doesn't do anything for me. I think I have to activate this top and find a Moxen. Everything I've done this turn has been one short. Every kind of line I wanted to take has been one short. I think I'm gonna try to find a Moxen and go snap Time Walk. Or sorry, DT Time Walk, and then go snap DT Will or something like that. I don't know if I have enough mana for that. Try it. I'm gonna find a Moxen off this. So rough. Hmm. There's no cards I can draw off of Ancestral that will get me to the next turn. No, Lotus is in my yard. I guess if I drew Opal Moxen, then Opal Moxen Time Walk, Opal Moxen Balance. I just don't think I'm getting a turn. I'm taking 1, 4, 7. Sorry, 1, 4, 6, 8. Just right now, I'm taking 8. I can only chump with Snapcaster Mage if I do it post Arcanist. I'm worried if I cast Night's Whisper, then I can't. I am more likely to die. And the thing is, if I like give them more spells to counter, it's bad for me too. I'm gonna cast Snap Ancestral, I think. I'm not certain to die currently on board, but it's not healthy for me, no. Maybe I'll go Snap Ancestral and just hope it works out, I guess. I don't know, maybe playing Mentor was bad, but all of my lines cost tons of mana besides Ancestral Recall. Maybe I shouldn't have gone for Ancestral Recall. Maybe I should have just... Oh, they're just going to Merchant Scroll for Ancestral Recall. And then they're going to flash back to Ancestral Recalls. Am I just dead here? I'm going to force this. If they have Pyroblast in their hand, we just die, right? They just have it? So now they just cast 2 Ancestral Recalls. 5, 10, 11. I'm not technically dead. Snap Misstep is really bad here. Because if I Snap Misstep, they're going to flashback Pyroblast, and I have no blockers, and it puts me dead on board. So please don't tell me to do that. They might just get Time Walk, yeah. So maybe we have to, though. If I do it, I'm dead on board, though. No, why did someone say Time Walk? It's not an instant. They're getting Ancestral, like I said in the beginning. Jesus Christ. That point in the day. They're gonna so they get Ancestral, they cast Ancestral, and then they cast Ancestral again. This gives them 5, 10, 11 damage. I'm not currently dead unless they find another spell off of their Ancestral Recall. Actually, the second Ancestral Recall I can misstep, but the first Ancestral Recall, if it finds a spell, I die. If it finds a Preordain, I die. If it finds a counter spell, I die. I mean, I don't think I have a choice. I think we just have to go for the second Ancestral with our Snapcaster misstep. I'm not currently dead on board, no. No, I have a Snapcaster Mage. If they find a Preordain, I think I'm dead. Or if this is a Pyroblast. Opponent just too many Mentor draws were really, really bad for us. I'm currently not dead on this board state. I am dead if they have any other spell that they can cast. They just have Force. Force Gush? Wonderful. Alright, yeah, there must be something I could have done on my turn to try to get me to a win, but... They drew Force Gush off of their Ancestral, so... I don't understand why they didn't just Gush. They're 100% to win if they just Gush. I mean, they could draw like 3 Preordains, 2 lands and a Preordain. It's not an unlikely thing. If I snap, misstep, Pyroblast, what they do is they flashback Pyroblast and kill my blocker. So if I snap, misstep, Pyroblast, I put myself dead on board. Without any regards to other cards an opponent's hand or... I under no circumstance can I put a Snapcaster Mage into play before they flash back with Arcanist. Because they have the ability to flashback Pyroblast. I mean, it didn't matter what I did, because if I block and don't cast Misstep, they just Gush. The problem with not countering Ancestral is then they can draw Pyroblast, Gush, Force of, and any 1-drop spell with an instant. I did consider it. I just chose not to because there were only 4 outs. I considered it, I chose not to. Whether that's wrong or not is fine. They don't need to have Gush. They can have any spell. You're saying flopping Mentor before flopping top before I cast Mentor? What are you talking about? I don't understand. Let's go back and look. 'Cause I'm missing something here. I feel like my Ancestral was a misplay, maybe. No, but the Ancestral was 0 mana, though, because I had a Pearl. So it didn't change my mana usage. I know you're probably saying something right. I just don't. I need to go back and look. I don't remember. I mean, I could have played this game very different by leading on Mentor. Maybe that could have happened too. But I mean, I don't know how I feel about that. All right, so you're saying that on this turn, what did you want me to do? You wanted me to play a land and activate top to try to draw Force? Oh wait, no, this is a different turn. Sorry. When I cast Mentor, where did I cast Mentor? Here. All right, here. So here you want me to do What, Brian? Brian. Yeah, when they force mentor here. So you're still on cast mentor here. You still think right here I'm supposed to cast mentor? Because there's a lot of ways you can. Oh, you want me to spin top? Is that what you're saying? Or did you want me to just activate top, looking for a force? What does flopped top mean? I don't understand this terminology. Putting top on top? Okay. I'm sorry, I've never heard that one. Okay, so you want me to activate top looking for force. You want me to top on top, looking for force. Because it's the same number of outs. And I ended up doing that later in the turn anyways, so I agree. No, I agree. Because this turn I end up doing it anyways, right? To try to, because I end up determining that none of these cards in my hand will get me to the next turn, so I activate top anyways. I agree. No. I mean, I definitely should. There's if it the real problem is I didn't identify that if my mentor gets countered, then I have no options to balance or time walk. That's the biggest problem is I didn't identify that from this hand. I need to identify that if my mentor gets forced, I can't proceed forward, right? So I should be activating this because eventually I do identify that, but then I activate my top and I have I have less outs than before because if I because I activate my top looking for a mox, but if I activate my top when the mentor's on the stack, not only do moxes give me an out, but force of will gives me an out. I just figured it out too late, and that would have been the force for the mentor, and I probably would have been able to make enough blockers. I don't know if I would have won with opponent going ancestral for gush. I might still lose, but obviously it gives me a chance to play the game. So I agree. I agree. That's just a mistake, and it just didn't. I didn't with this hand calculate it in time. Well, the problem, it's probably fine to DT for a force beforehand, but like that might not make enough mentor tokens to live. Right. I agree. I agree. I just the problem with this whole turn is it was incredibly hard for me to figure out which of my choices was the ones that I wanted to take, right? Like obviously there's about a million options I can choose here, but what I didn't really figure out was I need to either balance time walk or mentor. And my mana was constrained to the point where I couldn't play something, get something forced and still be able to pull it off. This was pretty brutal. I don't know if I played the beginning section of this game right either with the brainstorm and the Lavinia on turn 1. It could have easily been mentor. I don't know about my game 1 either. I kind of think I probably was supposed to just jam Tinker into the represented Flusterstorm. I'd put my opponent on Doomsday. They ended up being on, 4-color Breach, obviously. But I didn't want to play into like a very likely Flusterstorm out of Doomsday. There's like 3 Flusterstorms in a normal Doomsday list. So I played around it and I ended up not having enough action. So it's a tough matchup, and if you don't, hit the right spots, it's pretty tough, especially if when opponent plays turn 2 and turn 3 mentor in both games. Yeah, but you don't know what would have happened if I didn't play Lavinia. They could have easily had Force of Will for mentor on turn 1, Zaf. You can't just consider like, you know, maybe they had Force of Will and let Lavinia resolve because they had a billion answers to it. I don't really know. It's hard to say. They had like double Pyroblast in their hand, right? So, yeah. Yeah. This was tough because all of these cards look like on the surface viable options, right? Ancestral, Mentor, and Demonic all look like viable options, and I have to churn through which of them are the right ones Which one gives me the best chance of winning? Yeah, that's Brian Koval. Is he just 6-0 with Rug? Yeah, easy. GG, easy. Ben is also 6-0. Ben's streaming too, which is sweet. Koval has a Eternal Weekend buff, is what we call it. Yeah, it's on his Twitter. Public knowledge. All right, not bad. Not bad. I definitely think if we play better, we put ourselves in a better shot to win these games, but it was going to be hard either way. All right. What happened in this G2 game?
We're not up to par with the mechanical ability. Don, we're
the game, very big deal.
G2 won game 2.
Matchup is going to matter a lot. Good news,
Syndra? I hate Syndra.
That play is not too bad off here in terms of individual CS.
Interesting comps.
Lulu going for the support itemization does hurt her a little bit in the individual 1v1, but obviously it's going to make her that much more of a terror in these skirmishes. Mickey has been spotted out. Pretty much has to commit here, as he can just get run down if he doesn't go for it.
And wants to ult out.
But there's too much CC. They just have to stagger their CC and everything's fine. Flash over the wall. Mickey is going
back over. Why is he so
over.
far up?
That just feels like too much for him. They're going to take him down, kill.
No. Like, there's no problem with you looking for lines, Saf. I'm just... Sometimes that's a really tough spot for me. So there's no problem. You can say things like that in chat and look for lines. It's part of the content anyways. There were 256 players. I don't think it will go to 5. I really don't have any faith in G2. Oh, man. So we're almost into the next round, right? 5 more matches in progress. Illiga. I'm pretty tired, but not bad. I should make some food soon, probably. And then this tournament's going pretty swiftly, so we have to play 7, 8, and 9, but we'll probably be done by noon or so, a little after noon, because it'll be pretty much impossible for me to top 8 from this point. So I won't have to play any extra rounds. So I should be able to get a nap in before the 5 p.m. event, which would be good. If I can fall asleep, I guess. I didn't really... So, yeah, I think we're just gonna chill here and wait for the next round to start. I used a lot of time in that one. It was pretty rough. Yo dropped it. 2. Nathan DC'd 3-2. James 3-3. Jose 3-3. Yama 3-3. Ben and Brian 6-0. Very nice.